that will do what they want because, as any plumber will tell you, crap runs downhill. Mayor and Councilmember Scruggs, it was abundantly clear to me with the vote of moving the meeting back to 6, y'all had no interest of even listening to that deal of the people. So therefore, it leads me to believe that you have forgotten it is not your right to rule us like a dictator, but it is your privilege to serve at our pleasure. And another thing, Councilmember Haskins and Knight had the intestinal fortitude to walk out the front door like they are not above us. I challenge each one of you to do the same tonight. I also want to give prop where prop is due. Thank you to Councilmember Dominguez, Knight, and Haskins for putting their egos aside and compromising on the new start time for the meetings. Again, if you're up there legally but not rightfully, I urge you to think about stepping down. And also think about the example you're setting for the citizens and youth of the town. If you do something you know is wrong but legal, adultery isn't illegal in Texas, but it's wrong. Again, think about doing what's right and legal, not what's wrong and legal.
Okay, now we're going to go to Dennis Peacock.
Next.
Yes.
Sounds good.
Yes, sir.
Can I bring it over here and paste it to you so you can see for yourself?
Sure.
Do you mind? Anybody's objecting, I'll do that. But this board, I put together, and I can put that for
Well, sir, we help you. Here.
Yes. And you're not doing it.
Okay, we'll take it. You can take it.
It's made for me to carry, so I don't mean that, we need you to have.
You want a long way?
Well, turn it around so it'll face the
Oh,
council.
you want to face the council?
Watch your overhead.
Watch the screen.
There you go.
Just like it.
Okay.
You think we can?
Okay.
I think you can lay it. I think you can lay it in front of the boat, but I don't think it'll flip it.
Bring it here and lean over, okay, sir? Okay.
Whatever.
Watch TV.
Won't work there.
That's as far
Keep
as
it inside.
Won't work there either.
Just stay right there, David.
Right there.
Yeah, y'all.
I'm not gonna take my time.
You stay, you stay. You got it? You're grown ass man. Hold
Like
it.
a real city.
Anyway, you'll note this was done 37 years ago. And if you'll study, and I don't mean within these timetables, you have an outline, but like your restaurant, Good Eating Place is so on this map 37 years ago. This building was here. This is the con, that's the con code, right?
Pelican.
Pelican Cove.
Cove.
If you'll note, that same land was like this land here. There's 222 acres of land that's not truly improved, that need. And y'all have asked for it before. And I thought, and I do know an answer to it, but it has to do with some of the barriers that are involved. Number one, you're at the same elevation that you are over here in Conrad Harbor, 8 elevation. As you see in the hoses put over the dike, I mean the hill. And my concern is to help remove that problem if possible. Anyway, this is Conrad Harbor right here. The land areas are noted on this outline. And to be specific, there used to be 3 gumbo restaurants that I'm sure y'all would probably remember. They were factories. They were located on commercial. They're no longer there. One of the persons had died. But other things have been happening, which happens to be an interglobal system. Now, we have the railroad system going through that brushy area, which is the area I'm referring to behind Conrad Harbor, the hill up to where the railroad track is at. I'm not sure you're aware, but Interglobal, I've studied and found that there was $66 billion spent out of Canada to buy the Kansas City Southern Railroad, which that Southern Railroad that we have that goes all the way to Ingleside and Gregory. That's all part of the same system. It goes 26,000 miles connecting from Canada and its network all the way through to our area on into Mexico City. The next thing is that there's also other major developments, and that is where we're dealing with the United States. We get a major input of funds that are going to our improvement of the Port Authority. Am I talking too fast, or?
No?
Because you have an outline. But anyway, that matter concerns a 100 million, which, no, 100 million with Corpus Christi Port and Embridge, which is a 486 acres of land there. That was home port property. There's 11 home ports within the nation. Anyway, the other side of this plan that chose the city 37 years ago, it includes another plan which has to do with those railroad tracks I was referring to. This is the it's the interglobal system of railroad that's been purchased by Canada. This area here, Nueces River, Nueces County, is also developing. And Henry is falling for 100 million. The point about the money is that there is a lot of improvement between countries right now, which we're going to see benefits from. It would help, since we are dealing with Aransas County as being part of our area, is to work with Aransas County.
Mr. Peacock, we love your story. We would love to hear more of it, but the bell rang. Your time was up.
Okay. Well, I'll step aside. You got the outline. That's all that matters.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Thank you. Maybe this is a presentation for a workshop, or I'm not sure what the.
Yeah.
If that's what you want.
We'll talk about it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, 'cause
All
I
right.
didn't
Thank
hear the
you.
bill. Okay, now we're gonna go to Victoria Perida. I didn't hear it at all.
Hello, my name is Victoria Pareda. I am the elections coordinator for San Patricio County. I just wanted to come in today to give you a few reminders about the upcoming election. Election Day is November 5th, as many of you may know, but we strongly encourage you to not wait until Election Day to come out and vote. We are making an effort to remind everybody to vote early, and if you are a resident of San Patricio County, early voting will take place at the Civic Center in the Nature Trail Room. And that is also where it will be for Election Day, so please do not wait. Come on in early, and you are less likely to wait in a very long line. I also wanted to give just a couple of important dates and a little bit of reminders. Early voting starts October 21st and will run all the way until November 1st. We will be open every single day with the exception of Sunday. We will be closed on Sunday. Saturday, as well as the last the Thursday and the Tuesday in the last week of early voting will be from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., so there will be plenty of hours, hopefully, for you all to make it early. And we also wanted to remind you that the last day to update your voter registration or to register to vote in your current address is October 5th, so we hope that you will get that taken care of before then. We also wanted to kind of remind everybody that just because you see something on Facebook or in the news, it's not necessarily something to panic about immediately. If you are concerned or if you have questions or want to know more information, the best course of action is always to reach out to your local elections department. If you're in San Patricio County, we are happy to take your phone calls, your emails, and we do have our website and Facebook available that will constantly provide updates and provide information for voters. So we just wanted to make sure that y'all knew that we were a resource and that we were always available if you needed anything. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we're gonna go to Richard Titus.
Hello, City Council members, Mayor. I'm Richard Titus. I know these issues that I'm going to talk about have been here long before y'all were in chair, but the image of this town relies on you, Mr. Haskins, Joe, Mayor, Carrie, you, and the city attorney. Sorry, Jason, not you. Excuse me. I didn't mean to just leave your name like that. Anyway, the image of this town relies on y'all, and it started long before y'all got here, okay? But what the heck is this stuff across the street with Bucks? You drive in this main highway, Wheeler, and there's 12 empty buildings, which I know y'all are tearing some of them down and getting as much as you can. But this Bucks tire, what are y'all letting him do this for? This is right across from the Civic Center, the police department, and us standing here right now. Something should be done about that. That looks like a third world country over there when it didn't used to be. And then on the next note, there's issues. This town has a problem keeping employees on the utility side. I've had a discussion several times with Mr. Flores, and he knows it. I've called and talked to several of y'all about it. These employees that work on our public utility system need to be properly trained without any questions asked. I've had 2 situations in my alley where I've helped their employees, because they didn't have a foreman that was available or anything like that, to come and check and make sure they're doing things right. I've helped them do their job correctly twice, and I've spoken with Mr. Flores about it, and I've had an issue with Christian Freeze over it also. I am willing to give y'all my help as a professional plumber of 47 years. You can look up my time, how long I've been a plumber. I will come help you, Mr. Flores, and this city for free, just to make sure that these jobs are done correctly. Because when I got my plumbing license, I took an oath to uphold the well-being of every citizen anywhere I did plumbing work at. And they need help. So if you need some help, David, on the job, call me. I'll give you my phone number. I'll do it for free just to make sure it gets done correctly instead of improper. You can't do that. You know, putting fittings on backwards, not knowing what fittings are. They need special testing and stuff like that to know that, so they know what they're doing. You know, I watched them, they didn't even know what fittings were. Didn't even know what a 22 or 45 was. Come back with a 90 instead. It's just that kind of stuff. So, I could sit up here for days and talk about things here, but I don't have that time. But anyway, I'll give y'all my phone number. I'll give you my phone number. You need help? Call me. I'll do it for free on my time, even though I'm still building my house. Thank you for letting me build my house. Thank you for the stop signs. We still need a few more, sir. And that's it. I don't have any more time because I could sit here for days. But anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're gonna go to item 7B. I think it's y'all. They wanted to move it up early.
Good evening, y'all. My name's Elise Chacon. Most of y'all know me. I was the chairman for the Charter Review Committee, and we have finalized all of our reviews, and y'all are going to be getting them this evening. You're going to receive them this evening, and then I'm only going to make this pretty brief, and then Thomas will tell y'all more, but y'all are going to have 4 months to look it over. You're not going to vote on it until January. And then whatever, from there, then it'll be on the May ballot. And so what I'm here to do tonight is basically I want to thank everyone that was on the board with me. Actually, let me pull the names because I'll forget someone and that would be rude. But Hannah Coulter, Doug Graysons, Carol Salinas, Dennis Peacock, Donald Brummett, Hector Rios, Lulu Martin, and Myron Schroeder were amazing. It was so great to get to meet them, to work with them. it really showed us as a community to come together, and all of us have different views, and be able to work together was awesome. We couldn't have done it, of course, without our city attorney, Thomas, and his paralegal, Ashley. They were great. And then all the citizens. We had so many citizens reach out and give us input, and we took everything that anyone gave us, whether it made sense to us or not, we put it out there and discussed it, and on some of them, actually, you'll see in the changes that we're recommending. But with that being said, when y'all read over these, there are going to be things that probably you won't agree with. There's things that when I go to the ballot, I won't necessarily vote for. But I'm going to ask you to keep your opinion to the ballot, and just to respect the fact that we worked extremely hard on this and put a lot of time and effort in it, and we'd like y'all just to, as a whole, just vote yes and approve everything and all of our recommendations, and put them on the ballot and leave it to the citizens and give them that voice, because they really did. A lot of people reached out, and I think that's the only fair thing to do, and it'll show that you really are working for the citizens and not yourselves. So with that, I'm gonna give it to Thomas, and he'll tell you all some of the changes, and I don't think he's gonna say every single thing that's on it, but thank y'all.
Thank you, Elise. And Mayor, members of council, I want to extend sincere appreciation and commendation to the people who were on the Charter Review Committee. They were commissioned 2 months and 28 days ago by you, the City Council. They had 3 months to do their job. The Charter says that they only have 90 days, and that expires 2 days from now on Wednesday. Their work is done, and their work is being delivered today to you. I passed out earlier these white folders which contain all of their recommendations, so that council can pick up the ball now and carry it through to the finish line. I just want to briefly lay out for you what to expect over the next several months. There are 15 propositions that have been recommended by the Charter Commission. You'll remember that when we first talked about the charter, we said state law does not allow you to put a single ballot measure out there that says amend the charter. Instead, every single recommendation has to be separate on the ballot. And so they have recommended 15 changes to you. And that's what's contained in this white folder. In order to make sure that City Council and members of the public have an opportunity to really digest those, my recommendation is that at the first meeting of the next 3 months, we take them 5 at a time. Let's talk about 5 of them in October, 5 in November, and 5 in December, so that you guys can hear what the commission was thinking. I'll just do the presentation. We won't have everybody come in necessarily. And then in January, after you've had a chance to digest and hear from your constituents, we'll have an opportunity for you to present back to me what changes or recommendations you like, what recommendations you think need to be tweaked. I'll use that information to finally craft the ordinance that will call the special election, and you'll vote on that the first meeting in February. The election itself is on May 3rd. So March and April is your opportunity to do community outreach and to try to convince members of the public that this is worth voting for. And let me preview it a little bit by saying this. The city's charter was remarkably out of date. The Charter Commission has met every 2 years, but they weren't necessarily provided the resources and guidance that they needed to do a thorough job. One of the recommendations, you will laugh when you see it in the charter, is to remove a section that says we need to hold an election on November 17th, I think, maybe November 3rd, 1951. It's still in your charter 73 years later, okay? So, yes, there were things in your charter that needed to be brought up to date. This commission took the time to do the homework, and they came in here every 2 weeks completely prepared, and they debated and they disagreed and they debated more until they did agree on what to recommend to you guys. I really do commend the hard work that they put in here, and I look forward to presenting it to you, City Council. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Now we're going to go to public hearings. We're going to open up public hearing on the Aransas Pass Municipal Development District budget for the fiscal year 2024 and 2025.
Good evening. Before you is the budget that the MDD met and approved unanimously at their August 13th meeting. That should say 24, not 23. They're budgeting $3750 for auditing services, $200,000 for capital outlay, $75,000 for building maintenance, $715,000 for debt service, $240,000 for the Civic Center deficit. They're budgeting revenues of $1,420,000 with expenditures totaling $1,233,750. They're going to potentially increase their fund balance by $186,250 by next fiscal year.
Any questions? Public has any questions?
No, sir.
You all good? Okay, I declare this public hearing closed. Now we go to approve resolution number 2024-1059, adopting the Aransas Pass Municipal Development District budget for fiscal year 2024 and 2025.
I make a motion to approve resolution number 2024-1059, adopting the Aransas Pass Municipal Development District budget for fiscal year 2024-2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Now we're going to go to open the public hearing on the Aransas Pass Crime Control and Prevention District budget for the fiscal year 2024 and 2025.
Okay. The CCPD met on August 8th and unanimously approved the budget. They're budgeting $3,750 for auditing services, $1,106,000 to supplement the police department budget, $55,640 for E911 services, and $50,000 for equipment, and $140,000 for patrol vehicles. They've budgeted $1,360,000 in revenues. They're expending $1,355,390. That's the budgeted. They're projected to grow their fund balance by $4,610 next fiscal year.
Any questions from the public? Any questions from the council members? Okay, I declare this public hearing closed. We're going to approve resolution number 2024-1060, adopting the Aransas Pass Crime Control and Prevention District budget for fiscal year 2024 and 2025.
I move to approve resolution number 2024-1060.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, now we're going to go to open public hearing on the tax year 2024 property tax rate of 0.735171.
Gary, do you want to kick it off? We've met several times on the tax rate. So this is a decrease. Our current tax rate is 0.759365. This is a decrease of 0.24194 cents. Almost 2.5. I know that we had initially presented 2 pennies, and we heard that you all wanted a little bit more than that, and this is what we're presenting to you today, is a decrease of 2.4194 cents as compared to last year.
Any questions from the public?
How much does that average out per household in actual dollar savings per year?
It depends on the average, on the house, on the value of the home. Like if you have a value, I don't know what the average value of a home would be.
Rough estimate,
Hey,
20
Hector.
bucks to 100 bucks?
Sir,
I'm sorry.
you want to come up here so you can speak, please?
Okay. How about a home, Hector Rios, 1044 South Commercial, how about a home about 100,000?
That's about $24.19.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Okay, well, I declare this public hearing closed. we're gonna go to operating budget for fiscal year 2024-2025. We'll open up public hearing on the operating budget for fiscal year 2024 and 2025.
Yeah, let me kick this one off. This has been going on since April, approximately. And really appreciate the council and the public's participation in this. And it's something that we go through every year. And one of the big events that started this whole process, the operating budget, was the meeting we had here, and there's some people in the audience who was at that particular meeting in June, where department heads defended their wish list to the council, and the council made their decision on that wish list. And then we went into individual meetings with individual department heads for 1 week. And a department oftentimes would take an entire day. So it's something that a lot of people, as I indicated, the council, the public, and staff have been working on, as we do every year, from the beginning of the year until the present time. The fund balance, which we use as a measuring tool for the budget, is again strong. We've been right around that 40% area, and we're between 34 and 40% right now. Cities should not be below 25%. So the budget remains strong, the fund balance remains strong, and also want to point out the excellent work that in addition to staff, council, and the public, that the finance department has done. They've gone above and beyond. And once again, this year, you are being given a strong budget, and out of interest, we're looking at the cities around us, and that's not often the case. But because of all the issues I mentioned and many more, you have a very strong budget that's being presented to you.
Pretty much what Mr. Edwards said.
Any questions from the public? Any questions from the council members? Okay, I declare this public hearing closed.
I make a motion to approve ordinance number 2024-4464, adopting the annual budget for fiscal year 2024-2025, beginning October 1st.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, now we're going to go to number 7, staff reports and other discussion items. Eric, which is the one you need to do with the little ones?
7. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Citizen recognition.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I'm going to kind of bounce around. So I've got some recognition here that we want to go over, but let me give a brief interview or informational about what happened. On September 7th, it was a Saturday. We had some folks that were in town from out of town, and several of these folks came back to town today, but one female, and we've got a video that we'll show you here in a minute, but one female was leaving a location on the harbor, trying to get out of Harbor Point Park and follow the guidance of GPS, because it never fails us, as was reported to us, and she was directed to turn down that street, you know, the one that first goes through the boat ramp, and then you go through the harbor, and then you finally hit the street. Well, she did as directed, and she drove right off into the water and found herself about 30 feet or so off in the water when 4 of which I've been able to identify, Good Samaritans, sprung into action, jumped immediately into the water, swam to the vehicle, got the female, her 2 small children out of that vehicle, got them to shore, where people were waiting, other Good Samaritans were waiting at shore to basically receive the folks from them. I do believe that had these individuals not done what they did, we might likely have had a different outcome, and it's very important that we accentuate and highlight this response, because it's not often the case these days. Gary, you want to go ahead and start the video? This is just a brief glimpse. There is going to be a profane language. My apologies, but you got to understand the circumstance.
This is going to be very loud at the beginning, so I just want to prepare you for that. And I want to thank Randy Haskins for bringing this possibility and finding this this video up, and the police chief for getting it for us. This is what happened that night.
Anybody else in the car? Anybody else in there? Anybody else in?
So that you're seeing that basically when they got all the individuals back into shore. So right now, what I want to do is I want to recognize and bring up to the front Troy Bennett, Joseph Bennett, Gilbert Moreno, and Captain Michael Motes. Here. Now, Captain Michael Motes tried to escape us, but we found him. We were able to find Mr. Moreno as well and get a hold of him as he was trying to go back to fishing. And then Troy, all right, you got that awesome look, man. And that photo I screenshot, that's like that's a good one there. Hey, Joseph, I want to thank each of you guys. Our community depends on everything that you guys step in and do for us. So I can get some. You guys want to come again? So there you guys go. Thank you guys very much. Mayor and Council. Chief.
Sending you 3 receptors to go 1, 2, 3. See, isn't it nice to multitask?
Okay, now we're going to the Aransas Pass Hill Insurance Renewal. Derek?
Yes, Mayor and Council, it's that time of the year again, and it's time for, or that time to do this again as far as reviewing what our options are for the health insurance. And you all know Roland. Well, there you go.
I was sit and stand.
And I'm going to go to your PowerPoint here. I hope this is the right one.
I think it's that one. Yeah. There you go. There you go.
It's yours.
Okay. Well, first off, thank you for the opportunity. That was a tough act to follow, though. And I also might comment. Tomorrow we're approving. The City Council in Corpus Christi is approving their budget. I know it's not going to be that smooth. So what is it? You guys have a lot to be proud of. That your community believes in you. That they're moving forward. And I know it's a tough gig. But I bring good news for you today. I'm going to go on to the next slide. We got that one? Nope. There you go. History and goals, number 2. So back in 2017, we were with TML, Texas Municipal League, And, you know, this TML really is for a lot smaller communities. Number one, there's a lot of legwork that they do that helps to circumvent the proposal process. The other good thing about them, why they're for smaller communities, is when you don't have the resources, like, say, for example, a finance director, you know, say, for example, a community like Taft or something like that, or or Odom, where they've got smaller communities, and they just don't have the level of expertise to be able to put it with regard to your budget. The challenge is that they have a pool that you may outperform the pool. And let's say, for example, your claims history is strong, then or it's under the loss ratio, and then what happens is that you are helping the pool and it's not helping you back. So back in 2017, your city manager was Sylvia Carrillo at the time. She had enlisted us to come by and help with those resources. So the proposal back in 2017 that TML had provided for you was a $3,000 deductible. And the plan at the time was $852,000 and some change. We were able to move over to Humana because the loss ratio was one of where we could get very competitive. And the other good thing that Humana had for all these years is they had this wellness program that if your employees were engaged, it would allow for additional discounts to be able to keep you to keep your rates stable. Which I think during that time we'd only had one time in specifically where it was where the rates went where they were higher than what we anticipated. But once again, the thing is, last year Humana's rates even went down. The unfortunate thing is they're no longer in the business. And so they're still doing dental and vision and that type of thing, but they're no longer in the medical business. So they went into this arrangement with United Healthcare, which I'll go back to in a second. But you know, here's the thing I always tell people, and particularly in the public sector, the purpose of benefits is to recruit and retain good employees. You know, obviously we want to ensure that they're covered and that their families are covered, or we try to make it as affordable as possible. And so what your city manager and your finance director actually came to us and said, you know, is there a way that we can augment the benefits so that way we can try and reduce their out-of-pocket expenses? So there's some things that back then the prior city managers had indicated when they went to TML, rates were going up. That's when they raised deductible, and they offered a gap plan at that time, which was to supplement deductible coverage, which it wasn't very popular, even though the city was paying for it. There were too many requirements that had to be fulfilled. And I've always said insurance companies do not make money by paying claims. And that was some of the challenges that we had with the GAP plan. So we looked at all that and we said, so we basically issued out invitations for proposals. And if you go to the next slide, we were able to find, and I'll go over the price here in a second, but of the current offerings you have two plans. You have a dual option, basically that it's a plan that has a $4,000 deductible, and then the employees can decide if they want to pay additional premium, then they can get a $3,000 deductible. So right now the options are a $4,000 deductible, a $3,000 deductible. Max out of pocket on the base plan is $7,900, $4,000. So if somebody's hospitalized, that's what they're going to be out. Primary care visits, 35 and 30. Specialist visits, 50 and 45. ER copay, 500 and 250. Urgent care, 175, and then the prescriptions. The recommended offering that we'll be able to have, which is basically going to keep you basically in your same budget, just one option, we're going to reduce the deductible down to $1,000. Okay, what is it? I see the chief looking at me over there because I know. What is it? And the max out of pocket now for everybody is going to be $4,000. That's our recommendation. Primary care visits are $25, specialists are $50. ER, that's the only thing that we're actually losing on the benefits, is now it's a $500 copay and it's going to be subject to co-insurance. So what is it? Urgent care copay is $50, and the scripts are basically very similar. So I think that's something, and it's going to, and then the recommendation is going to be with United Healthcare. We go to the next slide. Now, here's one thing that we're very proud of. So the expiring rates with Humana, as you can see right there, is $735,000. So we looked at a similar option going with United Healthcare, if we did a very similar plan with a 3,000 and a 4,000, then that would represent, it would go up to 741,000 for an increase of 0.83%. Okay? So we once again looked at if we eliminated the gap plan to fulfill that deductible, and we just went to that $1,000 deductible that I recommended, then it goes up to $782,000. Okay. Now the other two items I just have on there so that way you could see the other insurance companies that submitted proposals, and TML issued us a decline to quote. So if we go to the last page that I have there, so our recommendation is to move to United Healthcare, and they're a very broad network. They're a very broad network, so there is a very, it would be highly unlikely that somebody's doctor is not going to be on the list. In fact, United Healthcare's doctors list is probably broader than Humana's. What is it? We're going to reduce the deductible for 112 employees. For 112 people have that base plan that well, for all employees you have 112 on the plan, so all of them are going to get their deductible reduced. 83 employees are on the base plan, so their max out of pocket now is going to go from $7,900 to $4,000. So we're going to eliminate the gap coverage, which was a cost to the city of $45,000, which will bring you a net savings of $4,868. Really proud of what we did here, and like I said, you know, what I was telling you earlier, you know, TML back in 2017 was I guess, what was it I said, 850? And so now we're actually, one of the things that I'm proud that I think that our skill set, I'll pat myself on the back, is I always tell people, they say, can we save you money? And I said, well, the thing is that it depends on the cost of the health care, but we want to be able to stabilize your cost. And one of the things that your staff has recommended here, and it's one of the things that we as a firm recommend, is your employees are not utilizing the plan, right? And I mean that in a good way, because they're healthy, they're getting their checkups or whatever the case. So you don't have any large claims. So when you have that, instead, in essence, instead of absorbing the reduction in cost, then what you're doing is that you're providing them with richer benefits and rewarding them for being good consumers of health care for your health plan. So with that, I'll entertain any questions. Yes, sir.
What is the cost for dependents?
The dependents, what we're going to do, I mean, I have that on a different spreadsheet, and I think what staff had recommended is that or do you have that? I mean, I didn't include that.
We're going to leave the cost the same as it is right now. Unfortunately, we could not move the dial on dependent cost or family cost. Right now, what we could afford to do right now is lower the deductible for everybody and make that a benefit, lowering it from the $3,000 and $4,000 deductible to the $1,000. That's what we could afford right now. So we're going to be working towards, hopefully next year, doing something more with the dependent and the family coverage, and being able to, the city to supplement some of that. That's really what a lot of cities are doing nowadays, is
So
supplementing.
you're just employing, or insuring the employee only?
The employees can insure their children.
How much does that cost to?
That's going to cost about $500, I believe, a month.
For each?
No. Like,
well, it's not for each. It's just there's a tier for employee and child, there's a tier for employee and spouse, and there's a tier for employee and family.
Yes.
What is
I
it?
can get you that information.
I was just wondering, because what I'd heard the last insurance deal was to employ the family was outrageous.
It is expensive, and that's typical. That's typical. But one of the things that we've done, well, at least right now, we're increasing the amount of benefits that are available to them, but there's not going to be any change. And whoever's on the plan right now that has a spouse or dependent, their costs are going to remain the same. So they're not losing out on anything other than, but we'll continue to work. We'll continue.
Just lowering their deductible, that's all.
Yes, sir.
Rather out of pocket.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any other questions? Okay,
Thank
you.
Good.
All right, my pleasure. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate your business.
Now, the monthly development report submitted and provided in the agenda package. So now we're going to go to consent agenda. Approve the consent agendas for September 3rd, 2024 regular meeting minutes.
I make a motion to approve the September 3rd, 2024 regular meeting minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, now we're gonna go to the action items, which is approved ordinance number 2024-4465, levying the ad valorem rate of 0.735171 per $100 valuation for fiscal year 2024-2025, which is a 3.19% reduction in the tax rate from last year's adoption tax rate of 0.759365 per 100 valuation for fiscal year 2023-2024, but it's called a tax rate increase under the state law because it exceeds the state calculated no new revenue tax rate and authorizing the mayor to execute any related documents.
Basically, we are adopting a tax rate of 0.73517. It is a lower tax rate than what we had last year. It is considered a tax increase, like the mayor said, because it is higher than the no new revenue tax rate would have been. But it's not higher than the voter-approved tax rate, which would, kick off an election or something. Do you all have any questions?
I make a motion to approve ordinance number 2024-4465, levying the ad valorem rate of 0.735171 per $100 valuation for fiscal year 2024-2025.
Mayor, if I can interrupt briefly, state law requires that we use very specific wording in the motion to approve this tax rate. The wording is included in your agenda, and it says, I'll read it out loud. Carrie, this can be your motion if you would prefer. It says, I move that the property tax rate be increased by the adoption of a tax rate of 0.735171, which is effectively a 2.48% increase in the tax rate as compared to the no new revenue rate.
I was wondering why that was there.
Yeah, state law requires.
Looking at that going,
Yes.
okay.
That's right. The state legislature wants to make sure that the public is aware that they consider this to be a tax rate increase, even though it's a lower tax rate. It makes no sense, but that's what state law requires, and so that's the way we'll do it.
All right, I move that the property tax rate be increased by the adoption of a tax rate of 0.735171, which is effectively a 2.48% increase in the tax rate as compared to the no new revenue rate.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
It has to be a roll call
All
vote.
opposed?
And I'm going to take a roll call vote. So Mayor Gomez? Aye. Councilmember Scruggs?
Yes.
Councilmember Knight?
Yes.
Councilmember Dominguez?
Yes.
Councilmember Haskins?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're gonna go to approve resolution number 2024-1065, an emergency medical services contract with Tri-County Emergency Medical Services beginning October 1st, 2024 through September 30th, 2027.
Huh? I'm confused.
So am I.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Carrie DeLeon with Tri-County EMS. We're looking at renewing the contract for 3 years at a 5% decrease.
Did you just read F?
Oh,
F?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
which is
I've
fine,
marked those
which is
off.
fine. Okay. Okay. Are there any questions? Anybody have any questions?
Anybody?
Where's the, what's the contract? How much is it with the extension?
it's a 3-year contract at $286,899.96 per year.
Per year?
Per year.
I'm sorry, I didn't see that, Mayor. Was that in the budget?
Yes, it is.
It is in the budget already? Okay.
Any other questions?
I make a motion to approve resolution number 2024-1061, an emergency medical services contract with Tri-County Emergency Medical Services beginning October 1st, 2024 through September 30th, 2027.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now we're gonna go to award the design of water line upgrades 2024 to Ordura and authorize city staff to begin negotiations on the contract for engineering services.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We had advertised for some RFQs, and we had quite a few engineering firms apply. According to our scoring sheet, Ardura was the #1 recommended. It is for those water line upgrades. We're going to do more in the southwest side of town. I can assure we won't put the fittings on backwards like we're being accused of, but either way, if you guys can approve us to start negotiations, then we'll come forward with you to get a contract.
I make a motion to award the You good?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Make a motion to award the design of water line upgrades 2024 to Ardura and authorize city staff to begin negotiations on a contract for engineering services.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Now we're gonna go to award the design of Yoakum Lift Station upgrade to K-Freeze and Associates, and authorize city staff to begin negotiation on a contract for engineering services.
This is the same situation for Yoakum Lift Station. We had RFQs, we scored them. K-Freeze was the recommended engineering firm. So again, we just need permission to begin negotiations, and I'll come back on a later council meeting to present a contract and a price.
I move to award the design of Yoakum Lift Station upgrade to K-Freeze and Associates and authorize city staff to begin negotiations on a contract for engineering services.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, that one, oh my gosh. We're gonna go to award the engineering contract to International Consulting Engineers, ICE, for $627,322 for Community Development Block Grant, Regional Mitigation Program Method of Distribution.
Yeah, this is for the infamous Euclid pump station. We already did the steps of advertising, scoring. We awarded an engineering firm. We rescinded that award, and now we're going with ICE Engineering. We're prepared to move forward on this project pretty quick. As a matter of fact, if this gets approved tonight, Gary and I will be meeting with the Navigation District tomorrow because some of this project will be encroaching into their property. So we're trying to get our ducks in line so we can get this up and running at least before next hurricane season.
I make a motion to award the engineering contract to International Consulting Engineers for $627,322 for Community Development Block Grant Regional Mitigation Programs Method of Distribution.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, now we're gonna go to appoint 12 members to serve on the Conroe Harbor Committee.
What?
Jay, go to Jay. Go to Jay.
Oh, we're gonna go to approve the extended back depository contract with Prosperity Bank for 1 year for October 1st, 2024 through September 30th, 2025.
Our contract right now is expiring with Prosperity, so we would like to extend it for 1 additional year, and then we'll go out for bids for depositories at that time.
Okay. I approve the extending bank depository contract with Prosperity Bank for 1 year for October 1st, 2024 through September 30th, 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Now we're going to approve 12 members to serve on the Conroe Harbor Committee.
So we had about 21 people apply for this position, and you have received a couple of packets, 12 that were recommended, a few honorable mentions, and a few that lived outside city limits. And so on one of the 12 recommended, you have Carol Salinas. She's been asked to be removed, and she only wanted to be part of it if there was no other person to apply. So if you want to look at your honorable mentions, we can transfer one of those into the 12 recommended. But we're waiting to hear what your chosen people are for this committee.
I did not bring my list with me. Do you have that list?
I have all of them here.
I need that list again because I didn't bring it with me. Okay. Aye. Y'all sent this on a separate email, correct? Didn't you send this on an email?
Do you have a list of all 12 of them so I can see it?
Well, it was Do you know when you sent that, so I can see it on that email? Who sent it?
I
You
did.
or
I did.
Candace? Do you know when that was?
Probably Thursday or early in the week. I can print it off for you.
No, I'd rather look at it on
Can you
here,
print it
if
off
you can
real
tell me,
quick?
yeah.
Just a second, I'll tell you.
Okay, gosh, that's the regular meeting.
My equipment.
Okay.
Whose idea was this committee? That's something I never asked, and I haven't heard
here, I found
of who initially brought this up.
It was during a work session, I believe, and it's something the council came up with as far as asking staff to begin pursuing that.
Well,
There. You were there?
well, I'm still against this committee, because the more I think about it, we spent around $125,000 for that Navigate 2044 comprehensive plan, and this was already done. There was 4 meetings at the Civic Center. We had people, pretty big groups, come in and say, what would you like to see on the harbor? And everybody picked what they wanted, what they didn't want, and I just can't figure out why we're not using that when it was already done by citizens, and we're going forward with this committee. I don't think it's right to use this committee at all, because we've already spent a lot of money figuring this very thing out that this committee will do. That's my strong opinion on that.
It's a good point. Something that, the way we've been looking at it, however, is this particular committee can be using that comprehensive plan as a guide to what they, potential options. We're not going to just be or you guys, since the council came up with this idea, not going to just be throwing them into a meeting and say, have at it. There'll be a comprehensive plan to follow. I'm assuming that's still the case.
Correct.
Yes, okay.
So we'll be bringing everything that was brought from the comprehensive plan to the meeting, as well as other plans that have been approved in the past, and just breaking them all down and bringing them down to the meats and bones of what we actually want there at the Com Brown Harbor.
I don't have the list in front of me either, but,
I don't either.
and I'm trying to find it on the computer and it's not there, or on your message. I know I did see it somewhere, but I'm not seeing it now. But
I finally found it. It was, September 11th.
Oh, come on, Jack.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, council. I'm Jack Cheney. I'm your county commissioner in Aransas County. Com Brown Harbor is about 70% in my county, and I just wanted to let the council know that whatever y'all decide on that, I'm here to help you. That's a wonderful asset. It does nothing but beautifies the community. And for the longest time, I've been on the Commissioner's Court for 16 years, okay? And I've seen a lot of development come and go, and Mayor Gomez and I have talked about this over and over again. Everything's been bling and smoke and mirrors and stuff like this. I honestly think, I don't know, Mr. Knight, exactly what the issue is. I wasn't privy to the other part. But this is the time to decide how you want the harbor to be in the next 50 years. And I think Councilmember Scruggs has been on here for a long time, and you know, she's seen the same things as the mayor, and all the body in public has. The confidence in being able to do this is very low, and I think that with the right people on this committee and the right path by which to take that committee through the city manager and everything, I'm excited about it. I think it's a really good deal, and I think that we're dealing right now at our harbor with the TERS issue and several other things that is directly to the city, but it influences the county as well. And we just set our tax rate at 0.31, which was very good for us. We've really utilized the harbor. We've got a lot of revenue from Con Brown too. So I just want to encourage y'all that whatever y'all decide to do and everything, keep me informed and just let me know. Because if there's anything in the world I can do to help you, just let me know. I really do love this community. If you have any other questions, give me a call. Thank you.
Who was doing this? Brenda? Yes, sir. Is this your deal? Okay, I was interrupted, but I'll continue now. Was that not supposed to be people made up from the city?
Mm-hmm. That's why I separated the ones that are not in the city limits.
What's this one from Ingleside?
That's some of the ones that were separated that were not in the city limits.
I thought these were the 12. You had Ingleside and you have some that are not in the city, but gave a city address.
Well, there's still some areas in town that are incorporated as Aransas Pass for mailing purposes, but they're not in the contiguous city limits.
Okay, so who are the 12?
Let me check here.
And I didn't know what the little sticky note was. Oh, okay. Okay.
So let's see, 12 people. We have Luana Martin, Oscar Medina, Rosemary Vega, Misty Wyatt, Justin Chandler, David Deckert, Green Hill, Myron Schroeder, Sandy Kujek, Mark Linsky, Herb Lancaster, and Captain Rod Spivey.
David Deckard is showing an address in Ingleside.
David Deckard. Go back to that one. Yes, but he is a Combron Harbor business owner.
He owns a business there?
Yes.
What?
Shrimp Boat Parks.
Do what?
In Harbor City. Harbor City Bait.
You're needing two more or one?
What do you mean?
Are you looking for another candidate?
Just from the honorable mentions and switch out Ms. Carol Salinas. So honorable mentions were Donald Volz, Carl Kirkman, David Shade, and Librado Ramos.
There's supposed to be resident people on this have a residence at Aransas Pass.
Correct, or a business on Combron Harbor.
130 West Goodnight is not a residence.
130, and that is for?
That's the chamber building.
That's the chamber building address.
I believe that address was put on there because that's where she works.
Oh, gotcha. 130 West Goodnight. Okay, I'd have to verify that then.
Yeah, it's Rosemary.
But we would need your residential.
Where do you live, Miss Vega? You live where?
Westboro. Okay. So that would,
She's got a lot of history here.
Mhm.
And,
She's from here.
And went to school here as well.
Yes, I've got my 11. I don't have a 12, but I got 11.
Here we go with doing what's right and legal, as opposed to doing what's wrong and legal.
Have you verified from these people that you've chosen, Lunsky and all of these guys, that they're still interested?
not if they're still interested, no.
Not that,
No. Yes,
Do you
ma'am.
mind explaining to us exactly what the committee is? I'm sorry, I didn't see the workshop, so just for the public, because I don't have any idea, the public to know what the committee is and what it's for exactly.
It's
I mean, I know
for-
Pop Brown, but-
Right, it's to figure out what development we actually want to see on Conroe Harbor and how to put it together.
Do they have that much, they have that much power, or? are
Yeah,
they
like I
just-
don't.
No, it would be recommendations, just like your commission,
Uh-huh.
and to recommend it to city council, and city council gives the final
So
approval.
would those businesses go to this committee first and then come to council? Like if a business wanted to come, they would go to the committee?
No, this is just to plan out what we
It was
want
sent
to
on an
see,
email.
not businesses at all. So do we want to see more hotels, single-family housing, entertainment?
I'm pretty much done for the
Your back's killing you.
Nothing about development, though. It's just only for sales.
Thank you for clarifying, I just didn't.
What was the 2044 comprehensive plan? Wasn't that a deal to figure out what's on the harbor, gonna go on the harbor, and wasn't one not gonna go on the harbor?
That was just a very preliminary of what the people want to see on there. This would be a more comprehensive.
That was a citizen input group that, you know, it was done with presentation and it was a good presentation. It was a good.
Why is this overriding that then?
Like I said, this was a recommendation from you all that you wanted to see that.
Yeah.
I do find it comical, though, that we're talking about this committee, forming this committee with people that are living out of town, but we allowed people to run for mayor and other council positions that live out of town. So,
You're talking about the mayor now, that's not very nice.
no, I'm not talking about the mayor now.
You are.
Talking about the people that were on the ballot that lived out of the county, out of the city.
We already have this committee. The city manager's this committee.
I don't live in town.
I didn't
so-
say anything bad about it.
But your mouth, I don't want to hear about.
You just heard
No, whatever, dude. But I think Mr. Jack Cheney wanted somebody from Aransas County to be on that committee, because a big percentage of that is in Aransas County.
I didn't really want them as a voting member, but I would like them to have a member on there. I can't be on that member because it's a duplicity of responsibility. But I'm sure there's somebody that is in Bill's ETJ or someplace out there that does not live here and maybe doesn't even have a business here, but they're long-term residents and you need to have somebody that doesn't have a stake in the game.
Yes.
That's just looking at it from the aspect of this is a good idea or this is a bad idea. Voting members sometimes, as we all know, they'll get together and they're not supposed to, but we do, and we talk about the ball games and we talk about all this other stuff. And oh yeah, what do you think about this? And if you have a little bit more of a diversity on there, and it may be too late to do this, but if you have a little bit more diversity on there, of have some people that don't have money in the game, they only have the want to grow and have Aransas Pass go to. I would love to be on that committee. I really would. I don't live in Aransas. I live in Rockport. And I didn't even live in Rockport, I live in the county. But I am an elected official, and I don't think it's appropriate for me to be on a development type committee. I don't think we need to be on them in Rockport or in Fulton or in Aransas Pass. I have about 900 lots, I think is what it is, in Aransas Pass. I love Aransas Pass. It's called school here. You know, we've been here 30 years, and I've been involved in Aransas Pass a long time. But I think that the committee, I know several people on that, they're very good people. But if the council has additional questions on this, I would suggest that you table it and have the council, poll the council and see what questions they have, and bring it back on the next agenda. That's merely a suggestion on my part. But I would like to be, and as I said, I'd like to be informed on what's going on, because I want to get back into really doing something to help it.
And I would agree with Mr. Cheney. I thought you maybe had more chance to look through the lists and the people on there. So I would suggest that if you haven't had that opportunity to look at it for a couple of days, that we table it and come back to that.
I say we scrap it. We got a committee right there. If a developer comes in, has a pliable idea, he presents it to the council, and the council says yes or no. Someone that sat in this chair, Ms. Scruggs sits in a long time ago, and it's a quote that's between, I'll never forget it. You cannot govern a city by committee. That's what the city council's for. There's a committee for this, committee for that, committee for that. And it's just jarring up everything. It's prolonging more, it's taking more time when we could be spending time right now figuring out businesses to be put on the harbor. It's just being
Well, I
drug
would
out.
have to agree with you for about probably the first time, because we were elected to make these decisions. So I completely agree with you 100%.
So the question is, do we bring it back to you in a work session, or do we scrap it? Makes staff no different, we just need some.
But, you know, in 24 hours, we're going to all be, yelled and screamed at because we're making these decisions, and why didn't we let the public? So that's kind of an odd stance for you to take.
Not an odd stance.
All I know is that.
So do we want to table it,
developed.
think about it, look at these names, think about not a committee, what do we want to do?
Yes.
Let me make a
We really need to work on getting that harbor developed somehow, some way. We need to get some development going out there so we can have more revenue coming into the city. And maybe we can go a little lower on the property taxes and whatnot, or we can get more revenue to be able to work on the infrastructure. That's the reason why I said that, well, let's form a committee, because right now it's a standstill, nothing's happening to it. It needs to move forward, it needs to get developed, so we can just make more money as a city.
Why can't developers come in here that want to put stuff into and present it to us, and we look at it that way instead of a committee?
That's perfectly fine, that's what we were doing before.
The committee is just to give us recommendations. After that, then we'll take it from there. But, hey, it is what it is.
You already got recommendations, Mayor, on the 2044 deal. You got recommendations from the people there. I make a motion that we scrap this.
No, I don't know, whatever. Is there a second?
Okay.
I make a motion to
Second.
table it. I make a motion to table
on
it.
the floor.
Okay,
Second.
well, we have a motion right here.
Go second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
All opposed?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Okay, so now make your motion.
Make a motion to table this till the next meeting.
Next.
Next work session, well, what's next?
It'll be a work session.
Yes, the next meeting.
Can I make a citizen comment on it?
Sure, if you're coming up here.
I'm kind of confused on the whole committee thing.
Y'all are a little bit too, I think, because it kind of doesn't make sense. But maybe if y'all do this, or y'all have your workshop, you could bring up, the only way to get that developed is to figure out the leases. And so if the committee is the people that come together and figure out how to make the leases to bring people in, great. But without having correct leases and being able to renew them to make someone come in, or make it viable for someone to come in, they're not coming in. Otherwise, we're just going to stay exactly the way we are, and we're going to have little companies that come in that want to lease a tiny spot, and they're not going to be able to afford that much because they're not going to have a large windfall of money coming in. You know what I mean? We need the developers to come in, and they're not going to come in with not having a lease that makes sense to them. And I don't know what by law that would, where Thomas would come in and say, this is what we can do by law, this is what we can do max years, this is what's renewable, but that's what y'all got to figure out. Doing a committee, I mean, I can sit here.
The number of years is the issue on the leases.
Yeah.
We've had that problem for
But
years.
that's what's, because if I own hotels, I'm going to come in and say, I think the harbor needs hotels. And if
But
I'm a real
maybe
estate
the-
agent, I want condos and houses. And if I own restaurants and bars, I want restaurants and bars. I mean, a committee's going to tell you, I mean, we all can see what it needs to be. It'd be great if it was like another mini Kima. But we've got to get the developers to come in, and I don't see where a committee's going to do that. Y'all have to figure out the leases, so when these developers come in, you already know the platform and say, this is what our leases are. And if you have to do in the meantime, there's smaller leases for whatever, y'all figure that out too. And like I said, I don't know what the exact answer is. You're going to have to find out by the law, but honestly, that's where y'all need to figure that out. Is
Well, we aren't getting major developments
Yeah.
right now because we're still under the environmental cleanup issue.
What
So
we have
when
to
that,
address is we have liens on.
yeah, so that's the only reason the major developers have not
But I mean,
come.
y'all know. I mean, y'all don't need a committee to come in here and tell you what y'all think that everyone knows what the harbor needs. It needs development. You don't need a committee to tell you that.
Ready to expire because we have addressed it. So that's another, when we talked before, that was a reason, one of the reasons the council wanted to look at the committee. You know, do what you want to do, it makes us no different.
And-
But environmental issue is a big part of it. You're not going to get a business in there if they have to deal with environmental issues and cleanup. We're getting that addressed. That's the big issue. Yeah, the 40-year issue is an issue, but I think you have reached a conclusion on that. I don't think that's an issue any longer. It's the environmental issue, and you're going to be hearing more about that later.
Okay.
Yes, but one thing that gets me, Gary, is I know, I'm pretty sure that even like the Port of Corpus Christi, they have land, but yet every land that they have, they're leasing it out, and their leases are greater than 39 years. So how come they're able to do leases greater than 39 years, up to 99 years, and we, as a city, we can't do that?
Based on earlier meetings, I think we're all on the same page on what you're saying. I don't think that is an issue.
It's
The
not.
environment is the
Yeah,
issue.
but that's what I'm talking about.
And that's something that maybe, because I've talked to the same thing with Thomas numerous times. And
Yeah, I've talked with several people about this issue, and yes, there is an attorney general opinion out there that says a lease that's longer than 39 years is the same as selling a piece of property. That's an attorney general opinion. It's not legislation. It's not a statute. It's not law. It's an opinion of an attorney, a very influential attorney, but just the opinion of an attorney. I do think that we should work to try to respect that in case it ever turns into law, in case a judge ever chooses to follow that opinion. However, if we get a developer in here who's interested in developing a piece of property, I have no doubt that we can work with that developer to overcome the hurdle that the charter presents in us being unable to sell those lots. The developer who wants to come in and build something wants to own that property. If we're only leasing it to them, there's a financial disincentive that we're going to have to overcome with preferable terms in that lease to get them to go ahead and make that development. But I have no doubt in our ability to negotiate that contract. The biggest hurdle is getting the developer here in the first place. And that's what we haven't seen since I've been here. And so I agree with what everybody is saying. Everybody wants to get it developed. Everyone sees hurdles there. The only hurdle I see is that I don't have a developer in front of me that I can negotiate with. Let's get that hurdle crossed. and
Now,
then
our
all
only
this other stuff's
hurdle
gonna fall
is
into
the
place.
environmental issues have to be signed off by TCEQ.
Agreed.
Yeah, we can
When
work
that
on
is
the
done,
hard
then
part.
we can advertise for
We
development.
need to work on
One
that.
vote was taken. Is there going to be another follow-up vote on that?
What? Motion.
So,
Let's just table it and then move
Table
on,
it.
or whatever.
Okay.
Talk about it the
Vote
rest
on
of the
that?
week.
So we have a motion, we need a second if you want to table.
Table it.
he made the motion to second.
Although I didn't finish my study, one of the concerns that showed up is there is a shared interest, as the gentleman in the back pointed out. And it's because we are in two counties. It shows up within the district and how it's divided. So the decision-making is not just here in Aransas, it's in the other counties also. Land area, for example, Aransas Pass County, 245 acres of land. The areas like we're dealing with in San Pat is like, and I'm dealing with the underdeveloped section, the one behind the hill. And the concern about the improvements, my family helped build that roadway out there. That was back in the late 70s. That's when the comprehensive plan was developing. I built the end of it where the parking is, and I went out there Saturday, and I was most impressed by the amount of people using that harbor. It's just, it's remarkable. But the point is, it's a shared interest. I think we all deal with the same concerns. It's just how we put it together that makes the difference.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We got a motion and a second.
Okay, say it again, so she can hear it.
You already got it?
You got it? Okay.
Motion for table it.
Table.
Yes. All in favor?
Aye.
No.
All opposed?
No.
Okay. We'll table
Motion
it.
carried.
Figure it out.
All right, now we're gonna go to appoint members to serve on the Municipal Development District. Terry Stansberry, Elizabeth Dora, Renee, whatever, and Don Walsh.
Renee. So all four of them need to be reappointed?
Yes.
Okay, I make a motion to reappoint Terry Stansberry, Elizabeth Doris, Renee Thacker, Donald Voles to the Municipal Development District.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, now we're gonna go to executive session, Texas Government Code 5Y, oh my gosh. Texas Government Code 551.071, consultation with attorney on matters involving pending or contemplated litigation or other matters in which the duty of the attorney to the government body under the Texas disciplinary rules of professional conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with the state, with Texas Open Meeting Act, and that will be with our attorney. Now we're gonna go to Texas Government Code 551.072 to deliberate the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of a property interest due to the fact that deliberation is an open meeting would have a detrimental effect on the position of the city in negotiation with a third party, Brown Harbor. And it is 6:56. And I think y'all